Great. So, ஆரம்பிக்கலாமா?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sudhaji, I'm so excited that you're coming on the podcast. Look, I'm super. To be honest, I've been in all smiles since this morning, and it's 6 p.m. here in Australia. And then since early in the morning, 4 a.m., I woke up and I've been in all smiles that I was going to see you virtually, of course. And it's an absolute honor that a legend like yourself has accepted to come on a podcast like this. I will be cherishing this moment for the rest of my life. So I really wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And you, first of all, accepting to come and then giving me your valuable time. It just means a lot for me. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much for your invitation, first of all. And normally I don't need so much thank you, but this time I think I do need the thank you because, I'm doing it in a kind of a makeshift arrangement. I'm en route to US and quarantining in Dubai.
Wow.
So, it's like I'm taking time off my off time.
Great.
So, anyway, it's wonderful to be able to do it because I don't think anyone would let go of an opportunity to talk about ARR. He's like a gift from heaven to mankind.
Thank you so much once again. And then it was just amazing to see Sir come on your show. And I absolutely loved the questions you asked him, and he was really chilled out and he was so comfortable. You made him so comfortable. And I was just enjoying the vibe between the two of you with the exchange of questions and answers. And I absolutely loved the musical bouquet you gave him too. So, and
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm touched that you have noticed so much about the show. Yeah.
And I also, I was also smiling when he actually got a phone call whilst he was in the show.
Yes.
And in fact, when I was watching that show last year, Sudhaji, that time itself, I made up my mind that I have to get you on the podcast because that was so many months ago is when I decided, yes, I'm bringing you on the podcast. So I'm super excited once again. And then the thing is, one of the things I noticed, obviously, towards the end of your show with Sir, you said that you had put it out in the universe and then obviously it happened. So would you be able to tell much about that?
Well, I mean, it's nothing secretive. It's nothing. It's not a secret in the sense because every motivator, every inspirational leader talks about putting out your wishes to the universe. So I think it's one of those things that I have imbibed from my gurus. And to get ARR on show is a big task because he's so busy with a lot of. He's a multitasker, and you have to go through people behind him, not really him. So I had to write to him and say, please put in a word to your people because I don't seem to be getting a response. And then he was so kind that he, kind of gave the green signal.
Yeah.
So then it was like he had too many. I'd asked him in the month of August of 2020. I think it was for July. Or I asked in July for August, something of that sort.
Yeah.
And then he said, no, I have too many things happening, too many interviews. I don't want to cram them all together because the ideas will be the same. So can you space it out? So it just happened that, I just threw the wish to the universe. I said, make it happen. That's all. As simple as that.
Yeah.
And you have to believe in it and have the faith that it will happen. So it happens.
Beautiful.
And it so happened that it synchronized with the 25th episode of the show, which was like a crowning glory for me.
Yeah. And on that note, you're guest number 91, Sudhaji, on my podcast. And I'm so thrilled.
Okay.
Yeah, 91. And
wow, that's wonderful.
And interestingly enough, since you mentioned about putting it out in the universe, exactly the same thing happened to me as well last year. I just put it out in the universe. And then Sir accepted and he came and he spent an entire hour in the podcast. It's not out yet. It will be the grand finale podcast. But I could relate to what you said towards the end because I heard every single word of your show while you were talking to him. And the musical bouquet part, I was so amazed. And the way Saukyama song, it just sounded so amazing in your voice. Is that one of your favorite songs, is it?
I like like it. Yeah, I like it. But I think my more favorite songs are different songs because for different reasons. You don't listen to it like a normal listener.
Yeah.
When you are a musician yourself, you start to analyze on the different dimensions, on the different perceptions of the creator. And you look at every little nuance that happens in the song. Be it a violin bit, or be it a cello, or be it a mandolin, or a sax. Even if it's for 30 seconds, if it's a graceful entry and exit, you notice that.
Yeah.
So I have more favorite songs, but Saukiyama is a very comfortable kind of a hybrid between cinema and Carnatic.
Yeah.
And of course, Nityashree sounded so awesome in it. So it is. And the words are so positive.
Indeed. I loved it so much that I watched it in a loop for a few times. And I'm not exaggerating, but I actually did it and I loved it. Absolutely. I really wish there is a cover version of it and you should sing that too. So it'll be so amazing.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea. I've never done a cover.
Yeah.
So, because I thought cover was out of my limits. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, indeed.
It's a more younger gen stuff, and
not at all. No. You're super young.
Now you're saying all the good things, all the positive things, so that I get into the show. But I am already in the show. Don't worry.
No. No such thing. But I really mean it. And then the thing is, you're being super busy with a talk show of yours itself, and then is that more like you wanted to try out something out of your comfort zone? Is it because the number of guests you've had is just amazing, and then the best part is almost every guest who has been on your show has come on my podcast as well. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know it has been keeping me on my toes with running this podcast. Of course, I'm doing it single-handedly, but I'm just wondering, how did you go about doing a talk show and then how whilst managing other things?
Well, I've always been a talker right from school. I have been participating in a lot of debates and oratorical competitions and all. So I know that I do have the command of a flow in a talk.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, now this is the time to really try that out, to experiment something different, yet something that connects me, music, and the guest.
Yeah.
So if you noticed, every show had music, and every show had the celebrities singing something or playing something. I didn't intend to prolong it for so long, though. I thought maybe 10 shows, and then I would wrap it up.
Yeah.
But then the response from the audience across the world and my friends and well-wishers was so much. There was so much into in it that I said, okay, let me put my heart and soul into it and kind of drive it, on the road as it goes, as it progresses. And it so happened that every guest that I approached, they had no whims and fancies. They almost said yes over a message. I hardly spoke to any celebrity as such.
Yeah.
So it was the going was good, and I you said that you felt ARR was in his elements, in the sense he was so comfortable and so friendly.
Correct.
That was how I felt everyone was, and it's not that I knew every celebrity deeply, intimately.
Yeah.
I know, of course, people as Shankar Mahadevanji and Hariharanji and Sonu Nigam and Zakir Hussain Bhai and all of them. As musicians, we meet and say, Saukima, hello, how are you? So, and we bump into each other in functions or airports or something. But then this I think brought my, shall we say, the group of friends closer. And I must say thank you to a few friends who also connected me to different artists.
Yeah, of course. I absolutely love your show. I do watch it. And so jumping into the core of this podcast, ARR, what are your thoughts? ARR as a musician and ARR as a person?
I think you can't separate the two. Mostly, I feel the person really comes into the profession that he or she does. And so much so in creative art.
Yeah.
Especially music.
Yeah.
And in ARR's case, I think the person, his humility, his openness to embrace newness, newer artists, younger artists, different genres of music across the world, all of it, I think, came into his music. See, it starts in the mind and heart and then seeps into the music.
True.
That's how I think he grew into such a phenomenal figure that not only Indians are proud of, but the entire mankind is proud of.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. And how do you see the way, I mean, what are your thoughts on the way he has obviously revolutionized music 29 years ago, and then the way he has evolved over a period? So obviously it is a continuously evolving process for him.
Yes, yes.
And then how do you see it? What are your thoughts on the way he revolutionized and the way he has evolved?
When he began, I think simplicity was his hallmark.
Yeah.
Right from Chinna Chinna Aase in Roja.
True.
It was like, immediate connect between him and the person who listens to his music. And you're able to sing what he delved into in the album. So it's the bond that say, wow, I'm able to sing the song. I'm able to connect to the song, to the lyrics. Yeah. Everything was simple. The lyrics were simple. The music was so straightforward.
Yeah.
The singer was, the delivery was like straight to your heart.
Yes.
So I think what started as a simple version of newness slowly kind of, opened up into something very large.
Yeah.
Because as you see the progress in his body of work and the content, you see how he started to bring in newer elements, newer instruments, the voices. He tries any voice, right from rustic folk, tribal, to the most mellifluous, trained, Pakistani voice, or maybe a Carnatic vocalist or Hindustani vocalist. So it's like, he can reach out for the stars. It's not like anything is out of his reach. True. Everything is within his reach.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every artist also feels the same pride and privilege to be a part of his compositions.
True.
So it's a win-win situation both ways. Slowly, I think Shankar's movie, I think it was Tirda, I don't know, or Arjun's.
Shankar's Ottagatha Gentleman. Huh.
Yeah, and of course, Tirda also had some amazing songs.
Of course.
And, when the best feature of his composition is that when you close your eyes, and if you've seen the movie once, you can imagine the entirety of the scene.
Wow.
Every bit of the visual. So that's how engrossed you get into the music. Beautiful. And I think that's a characteristic trait of his, which is very unique and which is one of a kind, definitely.
True.
Then it moved to a little more melody, like with Saukyama and what is Shankar's song in that same movie?
Which movie was this? Gentleman.
No. So in which movie does Saukyama come?
Oh, Saukyama is Sangamam.
Varaha Nadikara Oram. Yeah, that was, I told Shankarji, I've listened to that song at least 100 times when it was released. And then the way he holds the note and then he goes into the next line. It's a beautiful blend of a little bit of classicism and folk and the cheer of cinema music. So Indeed. That happened, and then he got into more rap and more rhythm-oriented compositions, where you could see that rhythm had a separate important segment or a compartment. And then he moved to another kind of handling compositions where there was no, usually when you look at a composition, it has a definite pallavi.
Yes.
where you have where every artist comes back to the Pallavi
Correct.
after the 3 stanzas or 2 stanzas that follow, which we call as Charanam in Carnatic music.
Yes.
But in his, sometimes the refrain or whatever you call it, he would come to it later. He would start with something and then come to that. So actually, I have used that in a lot of my compositions as well.
Wow.
When I sing Carnatic music compositions,
Yeah.
I start with the Anupallavi and come to or I start with the second line and come to the first line. So I don't start with Alaipayude.
So nice.
Ananda Mohana Venugana Madhilaipayude. So that way, I took a cue from his workmanship, and I said, okay, that's interesting, because you have the audience, kind of thinking, what is this? I know this, but the starting is different. So that element of a little bit of a mystery there, a suspense.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I think that also came into his work.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he kind of moved in and out of melody. Inum Konjaleram, that's a beautiful melody that I have enjoyed in the recent times.
Yeah. Wow.
And then another song which Hariharanji has sung in Udaya Udaya.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a beautiful, amazing, mesmerizing number, I feel. And both the singers have put in their soul into it. The way the Sangati, we say it's Sangati, but you can call it embellishment or an improvisation.
Wow.
It's amazing. See, that's where you appreciate ARR more, because he gives the space for the artist
Indeed.
to do what he wants to do. And then he edits and brings a collage of the entire different versions that the artist has sung. In fact, Benny Dayal, who was my guest in Expresso, he expressed the same thing. He said, that is the greatness of the man. He says, sing anything. Then, you record for 1 hour, you sing different versions of it. You sing a rap version, you sing a melodic version, you sing a rhythmic version, you sing a soul-cutter version. And then you forget about it, because you know that the song is never going to be what you've sung.
Correct.
He will, edit, cut, bring in more newness into what you have rendered.
Yeah.
And the song itself is like, wow, it's a blast.
Amazing. So very well said. And when you do hear a song from him, is it quite natural for you to go and identify which raga it is based and stuff like that? Obviously coming
I don't have to go anywhere. Immediately it strikes me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
It just happens, but you don't delve into that. You don't say, oh my God, this is Charukesi. It has to be Charukesi throughout. Because we know that when you handle music and composing in cinema, there is always a way out, an exit, and an entry of another raga or another refrain or whatever. So your mind doesn't really linger on that. It does recognize it once. It says, oh, it's like Yaman, it's Kalyani, it's Boop, it's Mand. But then after that, you forget about it and get into his composition. That is his magic.
Beautifully said. Amazing. And do you have a favorite raga of yours?
Actually not. Many have asked me this question, but I think I don't have a favorite. I do like some ragas, but then there's no favorite raga unless I think, this is my favorite raga and I sing it that day.
Yeah.
I feel it doesn't acquire its completeness. So I have to love the raga that day. If I sing Kirvani, then I love it that day. The next day, if I sing Hamsanandi, I will love that. And the next day, if it's Mohanam, I'm in love with Mohanam.
Wow. So
in a way, you are in love with all the ragas.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Because every raga has a beauty, has a sharpness about it, has an emotion that is embedded in it.
Yeah.
And unless you touch the soul of that raga devata, I don't think you can do justice to the raga.
True. Amazing, amazing. And as part of Sir's journey as well, you obviously would have noticed that some of your colleagues were introduced, like Unni Krishnan sir was introduced in Karlan with Ennavale song, and then some of the others were also done as part of the journey. That's obviously a shift from their comfort zones, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is Unni Krishnan sir was also on the podcast, and he said he was very conscious of going into the recording booth, having done a lot of kacheris, and then all of a sudden inside the recording booth with ARR, he said butterflies were in his stomach, and so he was even more conscious when sir called him for a song like Hello Doctor in Kadal Desam, which he obviously declined. So, what are your thoughts on the Carnatic singers being introduced in the mainstream playback singing?
But that doesn't really only apply to ARR. I mean,
Yeah.
any music director for that matter, when you go into the booth, you have, like when I sang for Isenyani Ilayaraja sir,
Yeah.
I had the same feeling, that kind of a little bit of an anxiety, a little stress, little tension, and the little uncertainty of what I'm going to do and how it will turn out to be. How will I use my voice? How will I learn it and sing it immediately? See, when we learn Carnatic compositions,
Yeah.
we give it time. Give it time, like we soak it in vinegar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We sing it 100 times.
Wow.
We really soak it in the riyaz. And only then, even my guru and many other gurus have said that, unless you keep repeating the composition X number of times,
Yeah.
the result of Z will not happen.
Wow.
But here, that's not the case, right? I mean, you learn the song, immediately you're recording.
Right.
So you have to be so alert, and your skills of putting everything together, the shruti, the rhythm, the embellishments, the usage of the voice.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a romantic song, the huskiness, a half voice, which we call, husky.
Yeah.
And then if it's a kind of a Veeramana patu, then you have to bring out the chest voice.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a lot of wiring that triggers in your mind, in your brain.
Yeah.
And then you have to quickly do it. It's not like they give you enough time to assimilate all that and put it together. You have to do it immediately.
True.
So I think this applies to any artist, and I wouldn't say any artist. I'm sure there are artists who are beyond this, like SPB sir. He would sing 10 songs a day, and each one of a different kind, and still he would be at his best.
Yeah.
They are gifted differently. But a normal artist, I think we would all have the tension. And ARR especially so, because he's ARR.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, with the number of singers I've spoken with in the podcast, I think I can put my hand on my heart and say that 8 out of 10 have said that their Carnatic journey has had a big influence in the playback singing. So what are your thoughts on that? Especially, I would really like to hear from you.
Definitely, I think learning classical music, for that matter, I wouldn't restrict it to Carnatic.
Yeah.
Even if you learned Hindustani music, the ability to stay on the sur, shruti, the ability to tighten your rhythm, the ability to understand the sangatis, all of this, I think, gets multifold when you are grounded in classical music. And of course, being a Carnatic musician myself, I would definitely vouch for that. It helps you so much because you're able to understand or read the mind of the composer. And immediately, you're able to present it.
Yeah.
And of course, even if you used a falsetto, the uncanny ability to stay on the pitch.
Yeah.
There can be a slide sometimes, but all this improves, and I think you're more aware as an artist when you are trained.
Right.
But that doesn't in any way depreciate the efforts of untrained voices. In fact, untrained voices have an innocence about it, have a virginal
Yeah.
presentation.
True.
There is something so mystical, so much like an enigma in their voice.
Yeah.
So it's like it's an opinion. That's all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
definitely you stand at an advantage if you have had classical training.
Amazing. And look, I've always been fascinated about the concerts, especially yours. And obviously, concerts go for 2 to 3 hours. I'm just keen to know what sort of preparation goes before a concert. And obviously, considering that it goes for that long, what kind of, like, how do you prepare yourself, and then what keeps you going?
Well, I think the agenda changes from artist to artist.
Yeah.
For me, I can talk about myself because I know myself in and out. I don't talk much on the day of concerts. I'm very preoccupied. Whatever work I do the work because when you're at home, you have to do your chores.
Yeah.
But then I don't involve in the work. I do the work,
Yeah.
finish it, and then go back to my riyaz or my thinking about the concert.
Yeah.
It's not easy to sing continuously for 3 hours. Not at all. And people do expect you to have the same quality right from the beginning till the end.
Correct.
In fact, my guru ML used to say, in the beginning, even if your voice is a little rusted and kind of not edgy, slowly it should move to the more, toned, more melodic phase. And towards the end, it should be like a crescendo. Like people should go with the voice ringing in their minds, in their ears.
Wow.
So that should be the progress in a concert. Not like you begin with a wah and then you taper to nothing. You lose all your energy and stamina right in the first half hour. They say this for the sprint runners as well. When you're running the 100 meters, they say you begin slowly. But then it doesn't matter if you're coming 10th. If people have run before you, then you go like lightning.
Right.
Because you have maintained that stamina and energy, and then you bring it out.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. I mean, that's what I aim at in every concert. Of course, the outcome of every concert has been definitely different. I can't put together 2 concerts on the same at par.
Wow.
For various reasons. I mean, as I said, we always analyze too much. We dissect the concert,
Yeah.
For a rasika, maybe the first concert, the 5th concert were good. When we sing 15 concerts during December, you can imagine the stress on the voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the brain. So every concert has to be different in different ways. You have to plan so that even if the same rasika came to the first and all the 9 concerts or the 14 concerts, find your concert interesting and you're able to hold his attention. Which means so much of planning goes into it and so much of the management of voice happens. Yeah. So I think I also meditate a little bit. I eat a little less on days that I perform.
Right.
I'm not too empty. I'm not too full. And that's like a half state. And I keep sipping on warm stuff so that there's no phlegm around the throat and throat region.
Yeah.
These are some simple things that I do. But of course, depending on the duration of the concert and the venue of the concert, I change my little agenda.
Right. And do you avoid certain foods? Like?
Yes, I do avoid citric foods and something which is too spicy.
Right. Oh, yeah. Of course. And is there a certain ritual, this is completely random, like a favorite jewelry or favorite sari that you would wear? Or it doesn't really matter? Does it get to your head? Because the reason why I ask is obviously when I go for a very important interview, it'll be a navy blue shirt or it's a blue thing today. Because I was very nervous this morning and I just wanted to feel confident by wearing something that it'll give me that little element of confidence. So I'm being completely honest here, and hence why I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think we also do have that. We have few saris that are on the top priority list, but not so much. I mean, it's that day when you wake up today. Oh, today's the concert is here. This is the venue. So what might be the backdrop? Now, okay, I'll wear something like this. So I'll wear yellow. But I'm not a person who goes by, some artists go by the day and the color. Like if it's Thursday, it has to be yellow. If it's or something like that. And then if it's Wednesday, it has to be green. They have a I don't know, norm. Yeah. But I really don't know what it is. Yeah. If it's Saturday, it has to be blue or black.
Right.
So there's nothing to laugh about it, I feel. But then, I'm not a person attached to days and colors. I go by the mind. Today, I feel very bright. I'll wear a bright pink, bright yellow, orange, white. Yeah. Sometimes I feel very serene. Then I wear white.
Beautiful.
Sometimes I feel like, there is so much verve, so much of excitement. Then you go for a turquoise blue or that way.
Nice. And I wanted to get your thoughts on something. So obviously, yourself being coming from a Carnatic background, there is obviously a natural inclination for a Carnatic based song when a song comes out of Sir's studio, for example, something that you have heard. And then just out of curiosity, do you listen to some of the dance numbers that comes out of the studio as well? Like, Oh Maria, Hello Doctor, or how should I put it? Let me make it super simple. Does any of the songs get your feet tapping?
Of course. Whatever deserves to be tapped, it automatically happens. I don't have to plan it at all. All his Bollywood numbers definitely are more, I feel, tap numbers than Tamil.
Wow. Amazing.
Definitely. I'm a very open person that way, open-minded.
Yeah.
I'm able to appreciate, and I'm thankful to God for that, because sometimes you get closed up, when you're in Carnatic music, there is bound to be a kind of a quality in the artist where you don't want to listen to anything else but Carnatic. Yeah. And even in Carnatic, there are some artists who don't want to listen to anything else but their guru and their lineage, which is very difficult. Then, there's so much excitement happening in music in the world.
Beautiful.
So now, when I'm in Dubai, so I'm listening on the TV, I'm listening to their music. And I'm singing along with them. It was so funny. Yesterday I was singing something and they said, so I said, So what my husband was asking me, he said, what are you doing a Jugalbandi with that person on TV? Or he was singing something like Natabhairavi. And then I was, when they have their turns and then they give a small turn to the percussion, I was singing on the percussion. It was interesting. You should be able to get into any music that is worthy of getting into. So I think I'm really thankful to the Almighty for that frame of mind that He's given me.
I love it. Something that I wanted to tell you. So it was sometime last week, coincidentally, I happened to watch a movie called Kalidas. And yes. You might remember where I'm heading. But interestingly enough, your song came up, Marai. And I was so glued to it that I obviously rewound it and I watched it again just for the song. And I looked it up on Spotify and then I actually added that on my playlist as well. I absolutely loved it. What I did want to ask you as well as part of this is the interlude had traces of Bhagya the Lakshmi Barama as well, right? That's what I felt. It had a trace of it.
No, I think it had more prominent was the usual refrain that we have in Kannonjaladi irundal. Adha. That was there.
Right.
It was happening in little pieces here and there.
I understand.
That was what I'm sure you watched Navarasa also.
I did, and your Kannonjal was there in it.
Yes. I don't know, Kannonjal, the tune seems to be following me everywhere.
Indeed, it's so amazing, and I think Justin has done a great job with the music there too. Yeah, the way the track begins and then your voice comes in, it's beautiful. It's really a very interesting track. And so the thing is, what I also wanted to ask you was, thing is more from a music aspirant's perspective. So, as part of my podcast journey, hundreds and hundreds of sirs fans connected with me and wanted to be part of this journey. And then there are heaps of young people who want to pursue music and also Carnatic music as well. And me myself as well. So my party used to be a Carnatic music teacher back in the days in childhood, and I regret that I did not learn from her then. So is it too late to learn? That's probably the question.
I believe every day is a beginning. So it's never too late to learn.
Yeah.
But I would like to put in a word of caution that the later you learn, the voice is already kind of, is shaped.
Yeah.
So it's not like clay. When you're a child, it's like clay that you play with.
Yeah.
You can shape anything with it. You can make a snowman, you can make a house, you can make a palm tree.
Yeah.
You can make a little car with it. So, it's so pliable.
Yeah.
And with voice exercises and voice culture, which is happening so much these days. We have therapists who are helping to train the voice.
Yeah.
I think it's easier when you're younger. The voice becomes more malleable. You can shape it.
True.
And you can also improve the elasticity of the voice. You can increase the octave. But after a while, I think it kind of stays in a place. And whatever you can do with that voice, I think that's appreciable. You should be able to do it at any age. So you're not too late.
Thank you. Obviously, my party used to tell me, "Day, vandu kattukoda motta madila." She used to teach, and I didn't. But I only have this little kelvi jnanam. That's it. And but I regret.
That's enough to stimulate you. That's enough to ignite your riyaz sessions. You don't have to go into deep Carnatic, but whichever songs that stay on the top of your mind, I'm sure you can learn them.
Amazing. So, Sudhaji, I'm coming towards the end of the podcast. So, just before
I don't believe we've crossed 40 minutes.
It's your magic.
No, that's the magic of talking.
And so, I would like to ask two tiny things. One is a message for Sir via this podcast. I know you obviously spoke to him, and then you can be in touch with him and stuff like that. But I would like to hear a message from you for Sir in this podcast, and I'll also share this message over to him so that he gets to see it. And the second one is 2 lines of any song that you like of his composition as a little dedication.
The number 2 is not possible. Number 1 is possible, yes. Because singing a composition of his is like you have to prepare yourself for it. I'm really not prepared for it. Pardon me for saying no. But then you also have to appreciate me for saying I have to be prepared for it.
Of course.
There is a bit of humility in it. Let's put it positively, right? Okay, the first one is ARR. You have outdone yourself. I feel that I already said at the beginning of the show that you are God's gift to mankind, and you always acknowledge the Almighty, saying all praise to Allah, always, whichever award you win. So that itself is a giveaway to your state of mind, your humility, your surrender to God for all that He has given you and all that He has blessed you with. Of course, God blesses us with certain things, but what we make out of those things is more important, I feel. Now, God blesses somebody with a voice, but if the person doesn't sing, there's no use.
Yeah.
So that way, I think you have worked so hard.
Yeah.
Right from your humble beginnings, but the genius in you, the ability to literally walk into the hearts of your rasikas is so magical that I only pray again to the Almighty, saying that this should just go on for eternity.
Amazing. Sudhaji, I absolutely loved it. A lot of respect for you, and then the fans within the I Love ARR community absolutely love you as well, because they've been really, really excited since the time I told them that Sudhaji is coming on the podcast. So they bombarded me with heaps and heaps of questions. Obviously, I can't take them all. So just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming in, blessing my show or my podcast. Yeah, I'll cherish this for the rest of my life. And before I let you go, I would like to please take an e-selfie before you leave. So you can stay as you are, and just look at the camera, and then I'll just take a picture from here, if that's okay. At the count of three. One, two.
Am I looking at the camera?
You're looking at the camera, yes. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
And so, Sudhaji, thank you once again. And
Thank you. I must say thank you for your vibrance, for your that love that you exude for music and for artists, and of course for ARR. I think we need more people like you who embrace good stuff, because this world has to be unified, and one of the greatest unifiers of mankind is music.
True. Yeah.
And we are all messengers of music, so messiahs. So I think we have to do our duty more actively.
Yeah.
And of course, both of us are partners in one way, and both of us do chat shows. You podcast, I YouTube, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm doing this as a tribute to Sir, and something just that the thing is where it all began was I looked up for an A.R. Rahman podcast and I could not find anything, and that is when I spoke to Sir and I said, Sir, I want to start this. Your music needs to be celebrated, and he just smiled, and that's it. And he then came on the podcast after a month or two after I started it, and it's just been magical. And like I have a living legend like yourself right in front of me. I had never imagined, Sudhaji, so this is like a blessing for me, and thank you once again.
Thank you. When I meet you again, you should be able to sing a Carnatic composition.
I will have to try very hard, Sudhaji, but I will definitely sing at least one line.
That's right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Sudhaji.
good luck to you. Good luck.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. Bye.